And in this class, we're going to be doing the even ones. In the other class, I did the odd ones, so you should have a total of every single question explained when you look at both videos that'll be uploaded tonight. So if you look at number 2 says 3 less than. What does less than mean? What does less than mean? Subtract, right? But the word than means you're going to end up switching. So you're going to put a subtraction sign, but the 3 is not going to go in the front. The 3 is going to go back here. So let's put that 3 back there behind the minus sign. And what are we subtracting? It says 3 less than the sum of m and n. So the word sum, addition, and we're talking about adding the m with the n. So in order to do this, you're going to have to put those in parentheses. So you're going to put the sum of m and n in parentheses and then minus 3, because that's what is being subtracted. 3 is less than the sum of m and n. So that's why you put the minus 3 second. And it says is as much as 9. Is as much as 9. So this is your equation that you want to write. But I'll be honest with you guys, after doing a couple of these, I think I might just focus in on solving equations. I might not even give these word problems, all right? Because solving equations is the essential skill that we need in this first semester Algebra 1. So I might delete these word problems where I ask you to write the equation. And let's jump right into these equations. Number 4. So what should we do to get b by itself? Add 3 to both sides. Thank you very much. And what's left over on the left side? B. Equal sign comes down, equals, and negative 12 plus 3 is negative 9. It's like owing $12 and having $3. Once you pay off those 3 that you have, you're still going to owe 9. Let's move on to number 6. Like I said on the other video, you have the odd ones. Right here we're doing the even ones. Destiny, can you tell me what's happening, or what does this say right here? Negative 7. But what's happening between the negative 7 and the t? Times, right? Right, Destiny? Right? Okay, so right here there's really a multiplication symbol between the negative 7 and the t. And you don't want that multiplication, so let's get rid of the multiplication by doing division. So you're going to put a division bar with that same negative 7 value. And of course, it's going to be off balance right now, so you got to divide the other side by negative 7 as well to keep the balance. So the negative 7 on top and the negative 7 on the bottom cancel out. All you have is t left over. That's what we want. We want to get t by itself. And 42 divided by negative 7, if you don't know, use the calculator. It will be negative 6. And there's your answer. T equals negative 6. Now, if you get some answers on tomorrow's quiz and you want to double check them, all you got to do is take that negative 6 and put it right here with the calculator. So with the calculator, you're going to go negative 7 times negative 6, and it should equal positive 42. If it does, then you're absolutely positive that you have the right answer. Let's move on to number 8. Whoops, wrong way. Number 8. Janine, what do you say? What does this say, Janine? I don't even, just tell me what this says. Y what? Y over 7. Now, what do you mean by, what does this mean, over 7? Divided by 7, right? So if I don't want to divide by 7, what do? Multiply. So everybody put a dot right here, right next to the fraction. That's a multiplication dot, and put the 7 up on top. I've seen some students put 7 down here. Don't do that. You put it up on top because when you have it up on top, 7 divided by 7, that's when it cancels out. Okay, 7 divided by 7 is 1. And of course, what you do to one side, you must do to the other to maintain the balance. So what we have left on the left side of the equal sign is y, and negative 8 times 7 is negative 56. And there's my answer for number 8. Let's move on to number 10. Number 10. So where's my n at? Is it on the left side or the right side of the equal sign? Right. On the right. Jonathan, it's definitely not by itself, right? I need to get rid of this thing. How do I get rid of that? Multiply by 5, that's right. Anytime you have a fraction in an equation, you could multiply by the denominator of that fraction and it'll get rid of it. So if you put a times 5 right there, the 5s will cancel. And what you do to one side, you must do to the other, times 5 over here. Now, on tomorrow's quiz, use a calculator, right? 5 times 31 is going to be a huge number. 5 times 31 is 155. And that will equal whatever's left over. So what's left over? We have a minus sign, a 1, and an n. So minus 1n, or you could just put minus n. It's up to you. You can put minus 1n if you want. Now, you don't want the minus 1 or even a minus sign in front of the n. You just want n all by itself. So in reality, what you have here is negative 1 times n. So to get rid of that multiplication of negative 1, you're going to divide by negative 1. And what you do to one side, you do to the other side to maintain the balance. And 155 divided by negative 1, that's simply negative 155. That equals n. Now it's by itself. There's your answer. Or a better looking answer would be writing the n first and the negative 155 second. Either, it doesn't matter. Obviously, this looks nicer because they're saying solve for n. What does n equal? N equals negative 155. But if you put that, you get full credit anyway. Let's move on to number 12. A lot of people really freak out with this one. But the bottom line is if you have a fraction, you could get rid of it by multiplying by the denominator. Victor, what do I do to solve this equation to get q by itself?
Multiply by 24.
Multiply by 24. Good job. Put a times 24 right there. Notice how I put it up on top? Because 24 up on top divided by 24 on the bottom, that equals 1. It cancels out. But then again, if I multiply the left side by 24, I need to multiply the right side by 24. And again, I write the 24 up on top because when you have a number up on top and then this division sign and then this number on the bottom, it's saying 24 divided by 4. What's 24 divided by 4? 6. And if you don't know that, use a calculator. 24 divided by 4 is 6. And that 6 is left over up on top. So what's our answer going to be? We have a q on the left side, an equal sign, and a 1 times 6 on the right side, which is just 6. There's your answer.
You can't do the LCD on that one? Or would that have to be on the one that has the 3?
Good question. Could you multiply everything by the LCD? And the answer is we did. Because if you think about it, if you look at the denominator 24 and look at the denominator 4, the LCD is 24. Okay? See, the least common denominator is kind of confusing because the word least makes you think that it's the smallest number, right? But you really want the smallest number that you could change both of them to. So in other words, could you change 4 to become 24? Yeah, by multiplying by 6. But could you change 24 to become 4? No, because 24 times 1 is 4. 24, it's bigger than 4. So least common denominator, it's really the number that you could change all your denominators to. Moving on to number 14. All right. What do you say, Sergio?
You add 5.
You add 5. That's the best thing you could do. Plus 5 right there. Plus 5 over here. You will end up with 3/4 q equals 8 plus 5, 13. So I still have the fraction 3/4 times q equals 13. You always want to get rid of things, right? And the way to get rid of things is to do the opposite. So if you think about what this really says, it really says 3 divided by 4. It would be nice if I didn't have that divided by 4. If I could just erase that divided by 4 so it'll just look like 3q, it'd be really easy to do. Just divide by 3 on both sides. So I could do anything I want to an equation as long as I do it to both sides. So if I don't want that divided by 4, I could get rid of it by doing multiplying by 4. Notice I put the 4 up on top, and what you do to one side, you must do to the other side. So yeah, the 4 up on top divided by 4 on the bottom cancels out. No more fraction. It's just 3q equals 13 times 4 is 52. And of course, you guys get to use calculators if you need it. 3q equals 52. That really means what, Amy? What does this mean right here, Amy? What does that say? Yeah, but just read this to me. What does it say right here? 3Q. Now, what math is happening between the 3 and the Q? Oh, you're multiplying, so you're going to be dividing to get rid of the multiplication, right? So there is multiplication right there. That's why we're going to be dividing to get rid of that multiplication. And when you do to one side, do to the other side. And with a calculator, if you type in 52 divided by 3, you're going to get a decimal or a fraction. So you know what? If it doesn't end up being a nice number, you could just leave it like that. Q equals 52 over 3. You can leave it like a fraction. It's okay to get fractions. This is number 14. Moving on to number 16. Whoa, keep going the wrong way. 16's down here. So this one's a good one. So Leah, you say add 32? Yeah? Some people would say get rid of the fraction by multiplying by 4. Now, you could do that, but it would get really ugly because if you multiply this by 4 to get rid of the 4, you have to multiply 32 times 4 and 17 times 4, and you get some huge numbers. So it's way better to get rid of that minus 32, like you said, Leah, by adding 32. And what you do to one side, you do to the other side. Let me rewrite what we have left on the left side of the equal sign. On the left side, we have the negative 3/4 with an F. And on the right side, we have 15. So Leah, what else do we do? Multiply by 4 to get rid of the fraction. What you do to one side, you must do to the other. The 4's cancel. What do we have left? We have a negative 3F equals 15 times 4 with the calculator is 60. And your final step, divide by that negative 3. And again, with the calculator, F will equal negative 20. Let's move on to number 18. 18 coming up. 17 was fun. Watch the other video if you need it. 18. Now, what does this line right here mean? Anytime you have a fraction, what is a fraction really? What is a fraction really all about? What does this line mean right here? It's a division problem, all right? Anytime you have a fraction, it's really a division problem, all right? If I say 1/2, it's really 1 divided by 2, right? I mean, if you think about that, what does 1/2 really mean? What's 1/2 a pizza? It's if you take one pizza and you divide it into 2, right? So a fraction is really a division problem. So right here we have something divided by 10. So now when you want to get rid of something, you want to use the opposite math operation. So what's the opposite of dividing? Multiplying. So we are going to multiply by 10 right here. And what you do to one side, you do to the other side. Multiply by 10. And you don't even have to multiply. You just end up canceling the 10 and the 10 because 10 divided by 10 is 1. But what that did is now we got rid of the fraction and we have the nice beautiful 3k minus 9 equaling 12 times 10 with the calculator 120, right? So we still need to get k by itself. Ivan, what would we do to get k by itself?
Subtract 3, you add 9.
Okay, so Ivan says subtract 3, but let's think about, how about this? Before you even tell me what to do, what does this say right here? 3 with k, what math is happening between the 3 and the k? There's multiplication happening between 3 and the k. So to get rid of the multiplication of 3, you're going to have to divide by 3. But before doing that, you have a minus 9 over here. So you get rid of that minus 9 really easy by adding 9. So start with the minus 9, getting rid of the minus 9 by doing the opposite, plus 9. And of course, the negative 9 and the positive 9 eliminate. You now have a beautiful 3k. Equal sign comes down. 120 plus 9 is 129. So now, Ivan, what do we do to get rid of that 3? Now you divide by 3. Divide by 3. 3's eliminate. You end up with k equaling 43. And you guys told me that with the calculator. I did not know that off the top of my head. Actually, 120 divided by 3 is 4. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Yeah, 43. You can do that in your head too. Moving on to the last one, number 20. This one's fun. simplify. Now, solving is to get x by itself on one side of the equal sign. Right here, you don't have any equal signs. It's simplify. And what does simplify mean? It means distributive property and combining like terms. And you do it in that order. You distribute first because distributive property is really the distribution of multiplication. Combining like terms is really adding and subtracting. So wherever you see distributive property, which there's two of them, we're going to have to distribute. There's distributive property right here where you take that 3 and you distribute it. 3 times 2x is what? 6 with an x. 3 times negative 4 is what? Negative 12. Notice that I put that as a minus 12. And then over here, I need to distribute the minus 4, include the sign that's in front. That way you could pretend that it says negative 4. It'll be easier. Negative 4 times positive x, that'll be a negative 4x. Negative 4 times, call that a negative 2, that'll be a positive 8. So we've distributed, but let's rewrite everything else that we didn't use. Let's bring down this plus 4. I'm just going to bring it down, plus 4. This minus x at the end, I'm just going to bring it down, minus x. So I really have so many different items, and I'm going to combine like terms second. So I'm going to combine that 6 with that negative 4x with that negative x. Combine all the x's together. And then I want to go back and combine that negative 12 with that positive 4 with that positive 8. Combine all the numbers together. So whenever I combine anything, I usually circle, underline, squiggly underline. So I want to circle the x's. 6x with the negative 4x. What's 6 take away 4? 2. That's really 2 x's left. And then take away one more x. That's just going to be 1x or just x. So we've combined the x's. Now I'm going to not use circles anymore because I don't want to get confused. I want to move on to something else with the numbers. What is negative 12 plus 4? Negative 8. And what is negative 8 plus 8? 0. So if you put plus 0, it's not necessary. The answer is just x. So this is pretty much identical to the quiz tomorrow, but I do think I might delete these phrases and just focus in on the actual equations, all right? If you needed the full explanation for the other ones, please watch the other video.